Stop using your artifacts on tanks. You're basically helping the enemies. The wrong target is turning your artifact in liability. I will cover why you should not attack the tanks, how the AoE gets ruined by going for the tanks, who to target and when to auto-cast. I think this is extremely important if you want to get crazy amount of merits. So far, if you hit somebody with artifacts and when you're hitting him and you hit more targets with AoE, you're going to get more merits at the end of the day. And so I can say this is going to be a video that some of the things people may know, some of the things people may not know, but I'm going to share with you how I make like 10 million merits in 2 days. One of the things I spent a lot of mana, but how I actually use my artifacts at the end of the day so I can get decent amount of merits. So I'm going to start with the tank problem, and yeah, this is a problem. When you're in fighting, currently I'm not quite sure I'm going to find some fighting. I'm in the home kingdom. Hopefully soon we're getting some fights where I can make real-time examples and bringing some reports on the table. No joke, it's extremely hard to find something like a fight somewhere. A lot of people are just doing some merit straight, which I guess at the end of the season is something that the majority of people will prefer because there's not just no wars and etc. But I'm going to try just to give a point over what I'm talking about. Next time I'm just going to prepare with some place where there is some fighting going on just to make my point. Now why is the issue with the tank? Look at these tanks right now. I'm going to take out the simple modes. There's going to be definitely so much things, but look at the damage you're going to see from the artifacts. This is a tanks. The best one was like 10k, 87. You're going to see the pink numbers is basically the artifacts, 5k, something like this. If with this artifact you hit some mage, that is or marksman, you're basically going to do 3 times more damage, and that's why I think tanks is actually problem when we're talking about the artifacts. Obviously, why to not target the tanks is one of the things. It strongly depends what kind of artifacts you're having. If you have Spirit Bond Torque, you're basically going to taunt the target, you're going to taunt the tanks, and it's going to be nice for the mages to actually kill them, because these days tanks are spreaded. Even if I zoom out right now, maybe because they're fighting between the castles and the tanks are stuck at, this is very nice for mages, but the majority of the times the tanks are spreaded around the map. And also by hitting the tank, your damage artifact is going to do way less damage, and even the control artifacts, maybe Breath of Gigantis is going to be good against the tanks, but the rest of the artifacts, the mage artifacts, is not going to bring any value on the on the field. The other thing is AoE is going to get ruined. Does this affect your DPS? And the short answer is yes. Not because you're going to just not get that much damage over the tanks, but in same time the tanks are not stuck at. What you see here, there is army groups. On the top kingdoms you're not going to see army groups. It's very strange. This is the first time I see in months army group with infantry. This is not happening every day. Most of the army groups is with the cavalry, so this is the main reason right now the tanks are stuck at like this. But if you see, there is a blink infantry, so it's basically a single infantry, maybe 2-3 infantry is going to make a blink, but still they're separated, and it's extremely hard to catch tanks more from 2 on one place. On the other side, mages and marksmen, they're moving together. So even if you catch one player, most likely he's going to have like 2-3 legions that you're going to hit with your artifacts. It can be Phoenix Eye, it can be Mirage Orb, it can be Thunder Elegy. Everything that is doing AoE is way more valuable over the marksmen and mages. But how you can actually catch those people? I mean, obviously it's not good to hit the tanks. How you can actually catch mages and marksmen? And one of the things I'm using is I may delay for example, the execution of the artifact, but when I see all of my artifacts are ready, what I'm doing is I'm picking the legions that are outside. For example, if I'm on this side and I want to get some merits, I'm going to target these guys. This one is far away, but this one is close, and I'm going to hit like 2, 3, 4 marksmen doing crazy amount of damage. The fight is happening here, but most of the alliances are doing something like banana formation. Obviously there is some advantages when you're doing the banana formation attacking, but there is also disadvantages, and the disadvantage is the enemy can get close to you and execute their artifacts, doing some decent damage over your marksmen or your mages. This is the way I'm using to actually take out the tanks, or not auto casting over the tanks. In general, how I pass the tanks and hit some juicy marksmen or mages just to get more damage from the artifacts. And believe it or not, if you're timing your artifacts as a mage main, you're going to get tons of merits. Artifacts is a game changer. Yes, Liliad is going to do some nice splash, Velen is going to do some nice splash, but for the mages, the majority of the damage is going to come from the artifacts. Now, what is the correct targets, or at least if you have the option, which one should you pick? Who should you aim for? And it's going to be the marksmen. I think for the artifacts it's going to be extremely nice for marksmen, because they just have to get close. First of all, if they want to do some damage, they have to get close. If they're not that close, mages is also an option, but the artifacts are hitting hard, especially the mage artifacts are hitting very hard the marksman. So if you have a chance to catch the marksman, for example, this guy here can easily catch these marksmen here. See where some of the artifacts get executed, and people are looking to target here the left side, not all of the artifacts to come here. And you're going to see that the majority of the people are just going to spend their artifacts here. Still, there is an army group with the infantry, so this is merit buffet, something that extremely rare you're going to see. But yeah, if you have a chance, target the marksmen. After the marksmen, obviously is going to be the mages. The range legion is always welcomed, especially for your AoE artifacts, but yeah, you have to somehow bypass those infantry. Now, sometimes when I play and I go so greedy, sometimes I get catched, and this can cost me a lot of troops going in the hospital. But yeah, you're going to learn how to do it with the time, to not actually get catched, where is going to be the perfect time to do it, not to end up in some blink infantry crazy rush and lose off your legion. But the reward is like 2 or 3 times more damage from your artifact, and I think this is extremely valuable. Now let's talk about auto against manual. I strongly suggest now if you don't want to do it, just go with auto. Most of the times you're going to catch tanks. I mean, if we see this group here, most likely see this pink number, everything is on the infantry, and there is some mages that is going to get like 2 times more damage. Or the other thing is, maybe you delay a little and wait till you kill the enemy infantry and start triggering. Look at the damage against the mages. It's just so much more from what you're going to receive against if you hit an infantry. It's just crazy what is the difference from point of damage, especially if you hit with Mirage Orb, Phoenix Eye, those mage assault artifacts is just doing pretty decent amount of damage. And also when they start running, you can catch them with the Thunder Elegy. It's also extremely valuable artifact. So from point of auto against manual, if you want to be a tryhard, you can go with manual. And if you want to do my strategy, basically triggering all of your artifacts on 2 or 3 legions that is on left or right of the big bow that are trying to play smart, like I'm not going to play with everybody on one place, I'm going to be on the other side so I don't get splash damage. And I totally understand they don't get the splash damage, but in the same time I like them because all of my artifacts are hitting pretty nice there. So yeah, this is in general the video I want to talk about, and this is how to target your enemy, and don't waste your artifacts over the infantry. They're just not getting that big amount of damage. So yeah, like the video guys, I really hope you enjoy it. Also subscribe if you want to have some daily Cow Dragons content. Wish you a great day and see you in the next video.